Hey guys, today I have some dynamic stretches to help you hit your splits. Now I know, the splits are considered this crazy advanced move, but they're really not that bad. Yeah, they are challenging, but the key with splits is just persistence. How much do you want them, and how much are you willing to spend every day stretching to get there? So this video is going to be less than 15 minutes. Make sure you are warmed up first, just so that we can prevent injury and make sure we're getting the full range of motion. Also, this video is not just for doing the splits. If you've done a tough leg workout or a long run, or you've been sitting all day and just want to open up your hips and feel a little bit less stiff, this is a great one to add in. So if you're ready to get started, improve your flexibility and nail your splits, grab your water, grab your mat, and let's go. Hey guys, so definitely be warmed up before starting this stretch routine. Go for a quick run, skip around the block, walk the dog, whatever it takes to get the blood flowing, and then meet me at the top of your mat. We're actually going to be doing some dynamic stretches today. So the first one is a hamstring to hip flexor stretch. So for this, you're going to need a ledge, some sort of elevated object, or the back of a chair works good. Place your heel on that object, hinge at the hips, and feel a great stretch all along the back of your leg, your hamstrings. So the next part of this stretch is going to be to bend that knee and hinge now, pressing forward through the hips to open up the hip flexor. 2 nice deep breaths here, and then once more shift your weight, hinge at the hips for the hamstring stretch. So that's going to be the format of this video. We're going to just alternate 2 breaths in each position, focusing on dynamic movements, a lot of breath, filling the lungs with oxygen, and really digging into the stretch. So we've got one more set here. We got hamstring on the right leg. And then shift forward, taking a hip flexor on the right leg. And last breath. Great job. We're going to repeat on the other side. So now left leg, hamstring stretch, hinging at the hips. And last breath, get ready to push your weight forward, really pressing through, opening up that right hip flexor. And go ahead and shift to hamstring stretch, 2 breaths. And shift to hip flexor. And last one for each, so take your last hamstring on the left leg. And hinge forward, pressing through the hips, right hip flexor stretch. Okay, cool. So you hopefully got the hang of it by now. Next set is going to be a high lunge to pyramid. So step your right foot back, press forward through the hips as you drive back through that right heel, reaching your hands overhead. And then second half of this combo is pyramid, so shift your weight back, straighten your front left leg, and really dig into the stretch along the back of that left leg. And shift forward, high lunge. Again, pressing forward. Every time you should be getting a little deeper, feeling a little bit more of a stretch. And pyramid, straighten that front leg. Last set for this leg, we've got high lunge. And hinge at the hips, pressing backward, pyramid. Awesome. Step right foot to left. Allow your upper body just to hinge here. Again, working into the hamstrings. And then when you're ready, take a little bit of a bend in your knees and roll up to standing. We're now going to take that left leg back to come into high lunge. Press back through that left heel. Make sure your right knee is over your toes. And really lengthen through your spine as you reach overhead. On your next breath, shift your weight back, straightening that front right leg, digging into the hamstring stretch on the right leg. And on your next breath, shift your weight forward, high lunge. Go ahead and shift to pyramid, hinging at the hips, really pressing into the stretch. And we've got one more of each, so take your last high lunge. And when you're ready, take your last pyramid. All right, we are done with those stretches, so step your left foot forward. Allow yourself to hang here in forward fold. Just take a few moments here. And then hop or jump back to come into plank and then press up into downward dog. So the first thing we're gonna do here is a three-legged dog, and then we're gonna transition into pigeon. So reach that right foot up to the sky, really reaching through the toes, and then step that foot forward, bending at the knee to come into pigeon, a great hip opener. Remember to breathe here. I know it's an intense stretch. And then shift your way back and come into downward dog. So those are our two stretches. Again, take a few breaths here. And then step that foot forward, bending at the knee to come to pigeon, making sure your hips are square with the front of the mat. And shift your weight back, tucking the toe, three-legged downward dog. Go ahead and pause the video if you would like to hold any of these stretches a little bit longer. These are just meant to be dynamic, so we've kind of picked up the tempo a little bit, but this transition is a little tricky, so take your time. Enjoy your last stretch wherever you are at, and step that foot back to come into plank, press back to downward dog. Pause here just for a moment, and we're gonna repeat. So left leg reaching up to the sky, really squeezing, pressing away the mat, and then stepping that foot forward. Remember, your shin is a good indicator of how tough this stretch is going to be. The more parallel with the front of the mat, the more you are going to feel it. And step back, three-legged down dog. My left leg is so much stiffer than my right. It's really ridiculous. And then step forward, pigeon. Remember, level hips. Try to be square with the front of the mat. Breathe. One more time for each stretch. Three-legged down dog. And last time, crossing that leg under, pigeon. All right, awesome. Another series done. So step that left foot back to come to plank, and then step or jump forward, come down onto your butt. We're just gonna do some toe reaches, really extending through the spine as you reach up to the sky, and then swoop the arms forward, hinging at the hips, trying to get those knees down onto the ground. And inhaling, reaching the fingertips up to the sky. Again, exhaling, swooping forward, reaching past the toes. With every inhale lifting, every exhale lengthening. And then last time, sitting up tall, inhaling, reaching the fingertips up to the sky, and exhale, swooping forward. And last breath, reach, keep reaching. And allow yourself to relax. We are going to come down onto our backs now and work more into the hamstrings, working on that leg and hip mobility. Take your right leg into your chest. Try to get that as straight as you can, pointing and flexing through the toes. We are going to actually transfer that leg over to the right side, so using your right hand just to guide it. And then take it over to the left side, using your left hand to guide it. And we are just going to pass that leg back and forth here, trying to get it a little bit further to the ground with each repetition. If you feel any areas that are a little stiff or tight, feel free to dig into that. But if you feel any pain, you should reduce your range of motion. And go ahead and release that leg back to center. Pause just for an additional hamstring stretch here. I love that stretch. And then switch your legs, taking left leg to chest. Again, pointing and flexing if that feels good to you. And we're going to open that left leg out to the left side. And then swoop it over, crossing it to the right side. And again, left side. And back to right. See if you can get the toes to the ground. And one more time, left. And right. All right, so counting wasn't so great on this one, but anyway, find your way back to center. Take one last hamstring stretch, really reaching through the toes, lengthening that leg. And then release and roll back up to seated. Okay, my next series, this actually might be my two favorite stretches. So we're gonna take a low lunge, right leg reaching out behind you, hinging forward through the hips, opening that right hip flexor, breathing here, and then shift your weight back, straightening that left leg, similar to what we did with the pyramid earlier, and allow your body to just hinge, fingertips just for support on the ground, breathing into the stretch, and then shift your weight forward to come back to low lunge. And with all of these, take it at your own pace. I'm just gonna guide you here. I was trying to do 2 breaths in each pose, and I mean really deep breaths. Go ahead and take one more of each. Nice deep low lunge, hands and hips or overhead, whatever is more comfortable. And then shifting back, straightening through the front leg, flexing that left front foot for more. Last couple breaths. Awesome, so far so good. Step back to plank, and then step that right foot forward to come into the low lunge on the other side. This time working into the left hip flexor. And then when you're ready, shifting your hips back, flexing the right foot as you straighten the right leg. Fingertips just for support. Definitely try to keep your gaze down just to avoid kinking the neck. And if you're staying on pace with me, shift forward, low lunge. And back, hamstring stretch. And come into the low lunge. We've got one more of each stretch. Shift back, low lunge. And take your last breath. Come back to your low lunge. And at this point, if you are feeling comfortable and confident, allow your right leg to slide forward and see how far you can dig into your splits. So like I said at the beginning of this video, the splits are by no means easy, seriously. But I truly believe that most people can reach the splits.
and all it takes is just incorporating some of these stretches into your daily routine. And I know that sounds like a lot, but if you go into it with the goal of just wanting to feel better and less stiff after sitting at a desk all day, it's really not that difficult to find the motivation. For what it's worth, I've really only been able to do the splits for about a year and a half, which sounds like a long time, but for the amount of years that I could almost do the splits, or I was about a couple inches off the ground and I never got any further, it was such a huge milestone. So all I want to say is believe in yourself if you are trying to get there. If you're only doing this just to stretch and feel more flexible, good for you. But no, seriously, I think that everyone can do them. Make sure you practice both sides. Don't just get to the splits with one leg forward all the time. That would be bad, very, very lopsided. And just take it slow. Make sure you warm up first. I know I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry, but it will help you reach your goals while avoiding injury. And why is that? Because warming up increases your body temperature, which increases your muscle temperature, which means your muscles are more elastic, less prone to strain and overextension. It's worth the 5 minutes of jogging, I promise. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It gave me a great excuse to pull out my long socks in the middle of summer. I love doing stretching routines and splits in socks because you really slide around the mat so much easier, especially in my sweaty, disgusting mat. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm gonna wrap this up. I realize I've been yammering on for the last 3 minutes, so I will call it quits here. Please leave me a comment below with how your splits are going, #progress, and I will see you again soon. Bye!